6.5 is the worst update Fall Guys has released due to the game breaking bugs, lack of variance. Players are suffering from the game just outright crashing, which is just unacceptable from any game, no matter the size, period, especially from a game who's been acquired by one of the largest gaming publishers. This issue gets even worse when you know that this update's purpose was to be a bug squashing update along with the introduction of crossplay. Like, how is that a bug update has some of the worst bugs? With how complex Fall Guys is getting and how many features are being added, I don't mind that there are bugs. Bugs are inevitable. Old bugs can be patched and crop up when you make new changes. It's just the nature of game development. What I want to know, was this game breaking bugs present during QA testing, or did it pop up after QA testing was done? If it did pop up during QA testing and they chose to knowingly release it due to deadlines, then that's just downright despicable. If the game breaking bugs popped up after testing, then that's just downright unfortunate. The floating bug for some players has been popping up so frequently they can't even play the game, along with getting critical errors, the epic invite panel just not working for some people. And I thought 5.2 was the lowest they could go, and there are way more bugs that could fit into this section of the video, but those are the main ones I keep seeing. The game would be unresponsive when I try to party up with someone on console, and my game during round 1 and even on some of the finales will stutter like crazy. 25 FPS to 32 to 15 and right back to 25. These bugs will be patched out in the coming weeks and forgotten by the general public, but what won't be forgotten is how downright awful Mediatonic's communication has been. While there has been a post on their Discord and an edit made to a post on Reddit, not a new post I mind you, an edit to an existing post. Like, you could have given us some kudos or crowns to make up for it, or at least a free skin even. They are doing triple fame, so I guess that's something. How you respond to a disaster really shows you what type of company you are. What makes this update worse is that the updates are taking progressively longer to release, so you would think with the more time they have, they would iron out all the kinks and it would be even better, but it's the opposite. I like the system they had in season 5 where they released shorter updates but more frequently. 5.1 was actually good. They actually worked on the desync a little bit and some of the physics changes were actually decent, but 5.2 sucked and was probably what shied them away from doing something like this. They probably thought they should just put more time into their updates since 5.2 was a disaster, but even with the extra time, it still came out like crap. The saving grace is crossplay, which is what players wanted for nearly a year, to be able to play with their friends who may not own the same console as them. This in the long term will help Mediatonic, an area they've been struggling with ever since Fall Guys' popularity in the mainstream vanished. Player retention and player acquisition. Player acquisition is getting new players to play your game, and player retention is how long you can keep that new player playing your game. Player acquisition has been difficult due to the popularity of Fall Guys dwindling after the pandemic started to ease up, and since players who own the game on PC aren't able to play with their console friends, they might have gotten bored with the game, leading them to leave and having a high churn rate as a result. Having a high churn rate isn't a good thing for a live service game like Fall Guys. Player retention is incredibly important in a live service game. Players who buy your game for the first time are considered casual players. There are more casual players than there are any kind of players, and casual players are willing to spend money. However, the longer your player plays your game, the more likely they are to recommend your game to their friends, and the chances of them buying DLC for them or for their friends or in-game currencies, and by the way, in-game currencies is where the real money is, by the way. That's how most games actually make their money. The chance of them recommending your game is incredibly high. Seasons keep getting longer because of how complex the game is getting to develop, but these features are a necessity. However, the longer wait coupled with lack of content leads to high churn rate and an ever decreasing player retention. With crossplay, people who've been hesitant to buy Fall Guys because their friends play on different platforms will buy the game and will want to play with their friends. And players who've been waiting for crossplay so that they can play with their friends who already own a copy will be more likely to stay on the game, or they'll actually be more likely to come back to Fall Guys, thus increasing player retention and player acquisition. While this update is the worst update Fall Guys has released, this update was necessary for Fall Guys to survive in the long term.